Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Katelyn and this is my channel Adventures of Katelyn, and today I'm filming a video which is part 2 of the best places to visit in Victoria. Now I posted part 1 last year and you guys seem to love that, love seeing all the new places, new ideas for day trips, places to go visit in Victoria, and places that are more like hidden gems and stuff as well that you may not have heard of before. So that video did really well, so that's why I'm filming part 2 now. So yeah, let's get into it. So starting off with number 5 is Mount Buller. It's about 3.5 hours from Melbourne near Mansfield. It is a ski resort and it is obviously more popular in the winter. People go there to ski and to snowboard and toboggan and all that sort of thing, take the kids. There's accommodation and everything up there, restaurants, shops, you name it. But it's also good for the summer, so you can either visit in winter or summer. Obviously in winter it's more expensive for accommodation, even just fees to get in and that sort of thing. I've personally been up there in the summer and the winter. I do personally love the summer more, I think, because obviously hiking, you can't really do much of that in the snow, but it just depends what you want to obviously do up there. In the summer it's also great for mountain biking, even just cycling like up and down the road to get there. So it is still quite popular in the summer. You can walk to the summit of Mount Buller, which is an absolutely epic like lookout and view. It's not that far, but it is quite steep obviously because you're going uphill, but definitely if you're going in the summer, make sure you do that because the views are just insane and it's a perfect spot for sunrise, sunset, all that sort of stuff. From Mount Buller in the summer, you can hike or you can drive. We decided to drive to Mount Sterling and Craig's Hut. So it is a 4-wheel drive track, not for little cars or anything like that. Make sure you've got a 4-wheel drive, but it's an epic drive if you do want to, dip your toes into some 4-wheel driving and that sort of thing. Some great views up there as well, and obviously Craig's Hut, which is pretty iconic. So yeah, plenty of things to do up there in the summer or winter, so Mount Buller is definitely a great place to visit in Victoria. Number 4 is the Great Ocean Road, and I was lucky enough to spend 4 days here this year. Absolutely loved it. So it starts in Torquay, which is about an hour and a half southwest of Melbourne. And it's basically a 243 kilometre stretch of road which follows the coastline, so along the ocean, and basically just stops in all these beautiful coastal towns. There's plenty of things to do. The Great Ocean Road really does have something for everyone. Personally, I absolutely love the waterfalls there. They're one of my favourite things to stop and see. You've got Erskine Falls, which is just out of Lorne, which is definitely more popular, but it is a massive waterfall and definitely worth a look. You've also got Hopetoun Falls, which is definitely a lesser known one, but that was my favourite out of all of them. It was absolutely beautiful. It's just so luscious and green, and it's a beautiful walk down to get there, and yeah, absolutely cannot recommend that one enough. And also Sheoak Falls, another one I stopped at, which was gorgeous. I feel like that's also lesser known than Erskine as well, but it's just out of Lorne as well, and not that long of a walk to get there, and it's just absolutely epic with all the rocks and everything, and also a beautiful spot to stop. There's also plenty of other natural attractions to see along the way. You obviously got the Troll of Apostles, which is pretty well known. Definitely a major tourist destination along the Great Ocean Road, and I couldn't believe how much they've built it up for tourism, which is good, I guess, because you obviously get a lot of people in summer. Then you also got Gippsland Steps, which I definitely think is underrated and would highly recommend a visit there. You can actually walk down to the beach and basically walk along where some of the apostles are further up. So it's an epic spot, absolutely loved it, and once again had the whole place to myself in winter. You've also got the Redwood Forest, which is in the Great Otway National Park. Absolutely beautiful. You just walk along, through the trees and looking up at these massive redwoods, and they're just so tall and there's so many of them. And honestly, like I didn't even know it was there, so it's definitely a lesser known one as well. And then you've got all the other beach attractions, like Lockhart Gorge and all that, along further on from the Troll of Apostles. Also a good spot for whale watching in the winter. I saw some there and actually kind of followed them up to the Troll of Apostles, so keep your eye out if you are there in that time of year. And then there's other tourist attractions like the Split Point Lighthouse, the Cape Otway Lighthouse. You've got chocolate factories, wineries, also the Otway Fly treetop walk. That's a really good one. I think kids would love that as well. It's basically like a built-up kind of boardwalk. Well, it's metal, but let's just say boardwalk that goes up through the treetops and puts you up really high so you can actually walk amongst the top of the trees, and there's a big tower which gives you a really good look out over all the trees and everything in the forest there, so would recommend that one as well. So if you are from Victoria or you are visiting Victoria and you've never been to the Great Ocean Road, definitely put it on your list. Number 3 is Falls Creek. It is 5 hours from Melbourne, so this one might be better suited to regional Victorians, but either way, if you are going from Melbourne, just make a weekend of it or a week of it. So it is a alpine resort, a ski resort, same as Mount Buller, but also like Mount Buller, you can visit in the summer or the winter. Same thing, winter is obviously more popular, skiing, snowboarding. It is better set up than Mount Buller in my opinion, just seems to be more lifts and just more spread out. I don't know, in my opinion I would prefer that for skiing and snowboarding. We actually spent 3 days up there this winter, this snow season, and yeah, skied and all that sort of stuff, although we sucked at it. It was so much fun though, like even if you've never done it before, just go up, you can do lessons and all that sort of thing, you can hire all the gear. It is a great place to go in the winter. But also in the summer, we have been in the summer quite a few times now. The first time we went, we actually did the Falls to Hotham hike. So you go from Falls Creek, walk for 3 days basically to Mount Hotham. Obviously you have to carry everything on your back and all that sort of thing and camp along the way. But that was absolutely epic, and if you're into hiking, I would definitely recommend that hike as well. I can link that vlog below if you want to check that one out too. But also in the summer, there's just plenty of bushwalks, same as Mount Buller. There's mountain biking, there's cycling, whatever you want to do. There's heaps of things to check out, like all the historic alpine huts between there and like the Bogong Plains. And yeah, we also camped up there in Pretty Valley, which is, you just go through Falls Creek in the summer, you can drive through and then keep going a little bit, it's not far at all. And we camped at Pretty Valley, absolutely beautiful spot. I vlogged that one as well, so I can link that one below as well, because that one was really popular for you guys. You seem to love that video. So yeah, plenty of things to do up there, whether you're into camping, whatever. And then number 2 is Walhalla. And if you haven't heard of this, which I actually hadn't until I think, yeah, the start of this year. Well, I went in January, but just before that was kind of when I found out about it. Had a few people recommend that it was a beautiful spot to go, so I did on my little mini road trip through Gippsland. So yeah, it's 2.5 hours east of Melbourne in Gippsland, and it's basically an old historic gold mining town which has just been like frozen in time. Like, it's so crazy. It's kind of like Sovereign Hill but in real life, like it's actually the town. So basically back in the day there used to be 4,000 gold miners there during the peak gold rush and all that, and now that it has 20 residents to the town. So it's this gorgeous little town. It's situated like in this little valley, you got mountains on either side, everything's just green and luscious. Absolutely beautiful spot. So you can just walk down the street and down the main street and check out all the buildings and everything. They're all like obviously how they were back in the day but restored a little bit. So you can go into the fire station, which I've kind of turned into a little museum, just like artifacts and that sort of thing from back in the day. You can also go into the post office, which is also a little museum, the post office is great, make sure you check that out. It's like, they've still got bedrooms and stuff like set up to how the houses used to be and that sort of thing. And then one of the main attractions there is the Long Tunnel Extended Gold Mine, which is basically one of the main mines back in the day where they found all the gold there. And now you can do tours through there. It's $20 a ticket, and you basically do this guided tour. You put on your hard hat and everything and you go through, and they take you 300 meters into the tunnel and just explain like everything, like the processes, how they used to do it and all that sort of stuff, and just stats and everything on how much gold they found, like all that sort of thing. And it was really, really interesting. I thought I was going to get claustrophobic because I used to back in the day, but I actually didn't, which was good. And yeah, absolutely loved it. That was great. Make sure to take a jacket because it's freezing underground. And then the second main attraction is the Walhalla Goldfields Railway. So it's basically just like the railway that they used to use, and now it's just for little like tours and scenic like little rides. So you basically buy a $20 ticket and it takes you down to a bridge. You get off, I think it was like 20 minutes or something, and you can go down underneath the bridge and check out the river, take photos, do whatever, and then you jump back on and it takes you back to Walhalla. So it's just like, it's not pointless, but it doesn't actually go anywhere, you know. So it's just like for the scenic ride. And all the carriages have like open like windows and all that sort of thing, and it goes super slow so you can take photos as you're going, and you know, you got all the fresh air coming in, that sort of thing. So that was great, and I would recommend both those things if you're going to Walhalla. And I also camped the other night just out of town there, which is a free camp. I think it was called Northern Gardens, but I'll put it below. And that was a beautiful, beautiful spot. Like, loved camping there. So definitely check out Walhalla over the summer or whenever if you haven't already, because it's absolutely gorgeous. And then number 1 on my list is Wilson's Promontory National Park. I spent 4 days here last New Year's Eve with my mum. We did a 4-day hike through the southern circuit of Wilson's Prom, but there's plenty to do there. It's got the Victoria's best beaches, in my opinion. Big call, I know, but the beaches there, it was my first time to round some of those beaches that we hiked to, like Waterloo Bay, and just the sand was so white, the water was so blue and clear. It was just absolutely stunning. And it's also got a lot of mountains, so it just reminded me of like Tassie or even like far northern Queensland or somewhere like that. I don't know, it was just absolutely beautiful. But there's plenty of things to do along the way. When you drive in first thing to the national park, you've got the big drift sand dunes. There's plenty of beaches you can stop at, like Norman's Beach, Squeaky Beach, Whiskey Beach, which are just like tiny short walks. You just park at the car park and walk in. And then if you keep driving in, you'll get to Tidal River, which is kind of like the main base. That's the only place where there's like a little shop, there's accommodation, visitor information centre, that sort of thing. And that's where we started our hike. That's where you start the hike to Mount Oberon as well, which is a great walk as well. It is quite steep, so allow a bit of time, but if you want to get up to the summit of Mount Oberon, would definitely recommend it because the view up there is insane, like looking over the beaches and everything. But yeah, there are a lot of day hikes that you can do, or even like one overnight hike, or 2 nights or 3 nights, whatever you want to do. So we did 3 nights, 4 days, but yeah, you can go to Refuge Cove, Sealers Cove, Waterloo Bay, Oberon Bay. So many beautiful beaches down there. There's also the southernmost point in Australia, or mainland Australia. So we actually walked out there, and yeah, so we're in the most southern tip, basically, of the whole of mainland Australia, which is pretty awesome. And something people probably don't know is actually in Wilson's Promontory National Park. There is also the Wilson's Promontory Lighthouse, or light station, which you have to hike into, so we saw that along our hike, and that was absolutely epic. Like, it's just situated like on these cliffs, and yeah, there's little stations where like the lighthouse keeper would stay and all that sort of thing. There's a little museum in the bottom of the lighthouse which tells you all about it, like back in the day and all that sort of thing, and it was just super interesting. And you can actually stay there still. It was booked out when we went, but I think you still have to carry all your stuff in because there's no roads or anything. There's only like the ranger tracks, so not really sure how all that works. You could look into it, but I think you do have to book a fair bit in advance for that one because it is super popular. But that would be awesome to be able to stay at that lighthouse. So there is lots to do in Wilson's Promontory National Park. It is seriously beautiful, one of the best in Victoria, so make sure you check that out if you haven't already, or even if you have, go back because it's beautiful. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you love it, let me know, and I can do a part 3 of this video because I know the first one was super popular. But let me know and give me some good feedback if you like it, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.